So I'm sharing my screen. I don't have such a great presentation as Eleftheria had, but this is my name and last name, which might be difficult for foreigners. You can call me Lukasz. I'm an ex-Googler. I worked for both open source projects, startups, and big companies like Google. So I have a good, like a broad view of various companies. So as you can see, there's a lot of gray squares in here, but there's a lot of green in here. So I'd like to talk about contributing to open source, which is what all those green squares are about. So let's imagine you have your great open source project you would like to contribute to. In my case, it's going to be AskQL. I'm a core developer of this project. So I'll show it as an example. Of course, it could be GIMP, could be React, could be any other project. And let's assume you'd like to, well, contribute something to the community, maybe fix some bugs, maybe create some new enhancements. So how do you do that? Well, you probably go to some sort of website, read about the project. For example, AskQL is a language for communicating with servers. You see how it works, you know how it works, and then you probably go to GitHub. So what do you have on GitHub? You have a list of files, folders. We all know that, or most of us know that. We also have READMEs, good or bad, sometimes very verbose, sometimes very short. And we have issues. OK, so how about we look at some issues in this project and pick one of them. If you're new to contributing to the project, you might want to filter issues by label. For example, good first issue or help wanted might be good indicators for you, especially good first issue, because usually those are tiny or small issues or enhancements to work on. OK, let's pick one of the issues and work on it. So I added it myself for the purpose of this presentation, but it's a valid issue. I also talked with the other core developer, Marcin, about this, and he confirmed this is very important. So I added it before, and now we are going to solve it. OK, so what it is about? AskQL is a language, and it has some resources or operators. So it says that there is a less than operator, but there is no less or equal operator. OK, there is some description. So we can say I'm taking it. What next? Usually you go to README and see contributing guidelines, see what you need to do to download the code, install the code, make sure that everything works, install dependencies, maybe install some additional software or download it from other websites. And then you start contributing, actually. So we want to implement less or equal operator, similar to less than operator, which is what the issue said us about. OK, so I'll look at the source code, try to find what it is about. I'll find a bunch of files. I'll also check the structure of the code. We can see that there are some modules like AskCode, AskJSX, AskScript, AskVM. It's AskQL after all, so all the modules are named like this. Of course, it takes some time to get familiar with the source code, but when we find the right place, we can start digging into details. So we have a less than operator, which is defined in here, and we would like to have a less or equal operator. So we look around where less than is used. So we can see there is an index.ts file, and it's mentioned in here, and in here, and in here. There is quite a bit of places. OK, probably we'll need to spend a few seconds to figure out what's going on, but finally we know. We need to create a similar file to less than, call it less or equal, change this, return a less than b to a less or equal to b, and fill in index.ts so that everything works. Okay, let's do it. I will copy the file over. Usually, it's not a very good method because it means that you're repeating yourself. But in this small case, most of this is just framework, more than hundreds of lines of code. So I'll allow myself to do it. Just please make sure when copying anything that you really replace everything you need. You don't leave some unchanged parts of code. Okay, we have less or equal now. So now we'll import it in here so that we can use it. And we'll export it in here. Well, the description said that it's all very similar to less than, so we'll just mimic it. Okay, we might have a doubt whether we should write a new line in here and have a new operator in here. So what could we do? We could ask under the issue. Oh, somebody already saw it. We can ask here, should I implement also operator? But in AskQL community, there is a better way than just writing under issues. There is a Discord community, which is a IRC chat. Let me find it. I think it's in README. Discord. You can find fellow AskQL devs in Discord community. Okay, so we'll open Discord community, accept an invite. And ask developers in here. There are pretty many of them. Here's AskQL Core. He sounds senior, which is good. Wait a sec. Okay. In issue number 113, should I also implement operator in index.ts file? We can also provide a full path if needed. And we wait. Ah, Martin already replied. This would be very useful. Great. Let's make a great progress. So right here our code. Okay. So now we have hopefully a complete code. But before I save the file, there is one more thing I could have thought in the beginning, or could do it now, which is tests. So in addition to the code, it's good to test that your code really works. So we'll do a quick test now. We'll go to tests, open a folder with operators, and write a test file for less or equal operator. Less or equal. Okay. We'll also check that we get the right result. Okay, looks good. And we'll run all the tests. We could also run only this test, but we'd like to make sure that all other tests work as well. So what outcome do we expect? We wrote a test before actually saving our change. which means that it should fail. And this is actually what we expect, and this is what we intend to have. If you're interested more in this technique, you can read about TDD, test-driven development, which is in very short sentence, it's writing the test which fails before implementing the feature, then implementing the feature, and then making sure that the test already passes. So there is a lot of tests. We wait for a while for all the tests to run. Actually, interesting. It's slower than it was half an hour ago, maybe because of the storm. Okay, we have one failed test. Hopefully, it's our new test. Yes, it's saying unknown identifier. Why? Obviously, because we haven't saved our change. Okay, now we save. And now we run the tests again. So now we expect the test to pass. If not, we'll need to make fixes. Interesting how long it takes now. Usually it's much faster. I think it's the Murphy law. Okay, and this moment is coming. It's coming very soon. Okay, everything passes. Now we can make sure that we made the right change. We can add the files we want to add. We can review our change, see that everything is good. We can create a new branch for our issue and make a commit less or equal operator. Okay, as you can see, there are some tests running here. Also need to fix the author. Now it should be okay, I think. Yay. Now I push the issue to the repo. Almost. I think I should have fixed my credentials before doing that. Okay, given the fact that my presentation is short, I'll not fix my credentials in here right now. I'll just say that after you push the code, it goes to the repo, and it ends up in pull requests, and then hopefully it gets reviewed and approved. Like, for example, similar to this, or to one of the closed ones. And that's all. There is no magic in here. There is just some goodwill from the contributor, so you, and the developers who are already in the project and are waiting for you on Discord community, at issues, or in other places to answer your questions. Make sure that you have a smooth start with a new open source project. Good luck with your contributions.
Thank you very much, Łukasz. That was an impressive presentation. I know that you're actually quite familiar with SQL as you're one of the core contributors. So can you tell me, let's say I'm a mid or a junior level programmer. I would like to contribute, but I feel that my knowledge and my code could be weak. So for how much support I can actually get from you or other contributors to this repository?
Thanks for asking. It's a very good question. So let me go to a Discord channel. Actually, this is the first project I have ever used Discord, and I think the idea is brilliant because not only you have the issues on GitHub, but also you have a real-time chat where you can talk with the developers and make sure that you're getting the things right. So if you scroll up the channel, you can see that there was a lot of messages between Marcin, the other core developer, and Jonathan, who is the first contributor, and he did wonderful things. This is Jonathan, and he did wonderful things in the project. So I think there is a lot of support from us, from core developers, and well, we provide as much help as needed.
Well, so but it's hard to believe that everyone can just join this Discord channel and ask you questions. It's possible.
Yes, everyone can join. We had also one spam bot joining us, so we needed to introduce some extra security measures, which is Google CAPTCHA, so we are not spammed. So yeah, everyone can join. I think you need to confirm your email so that you can write messages. But without any registration, you can go right now and see all the messages and click on the links, download some files, and see the conversation.
Okay, Łukasz. So Anya Lu found it very useful what you said. So I hope she will be also at the session, networking session. I'm going to ask you also to visit our online time. Are you going to join us now?